Back. This is The Pulse, and we are on the wire. There's been a lot happening around the StarCraft 2 scene, mostly, well not mostly, but a lot of it has been pertaining to Heart of the Swarm. Blizzard recently released their Heart of the Swarm cinematic. It was awesome. In case you missed it, here it is. And, well, I think we can all say that everybody was blown away by this one.
Incredible, incredible. Blizzard said it's one of the best they've ever produced, and I think this shows it, especially with the Vikings at the beginning. Echo 5 to Echo 7. This is Red Leader standing by. Reminds me of Star Wars, man, that really cool feel.
Or Independence Day.
Or Independence Day.
I remember I had to call Ben down like 4 times from his room to come watch it, and then I said, Ben, remember this feeling right now of what it's like to be flaccid.
A lot of people are asking what that thing is.
You don't remember that?
Man. Leviathan, official name of the Zerg unit that has those spore things flying.
It's a jellyfish, guys. This is why I don't go into the ocean.
No, it's the biological version of the Matrix stuff. You know, those things that
the squids?
EMP'd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, that Hydra. That Hydra's angry.
Got the siege tank trying to beast it up. No!
This is the smartest Viking I've ever seen, guys.
This is me in the gym, guys.
And that's the bench bar.
That is Kevin in the gym.
See, these siege tanks are so silly. They should be sieged up already. Whoever's controlling these.
Well, they don't have upgrades, so they have to wait anymore, so.
If you were a Marine and you were ever about to stim, I'd say this is the moment. And don't be afraid to take overdoses, guys.
Deplete all the stim.
Few seconds to go, you might as well make a blast out of it.
Oh, Banelings, no.
No stutter step micro
No.
either.
No! Quick, get the SCVs on it.
Really? No! Oh.
That's what it's like to play Terran and Wings of Liberty right now.
And the Marines are like, how could this get any worse? Well, it's about to get a lot worse.
As awesome as the Heart of the Swarm cinematic was, I think it was dwarfed by the awesomeness of the announcement that would shortly follow. They have released one of the greatest content patches to date on the Heart of the Swarm beta server with features that we have been begging for since the Wings of Liberty beta. Guys, I cannot believe what we have.
Dude, watching replay with friends? Finally, so excited for this.
Oh, I have to get our friends now, and we're good.
Can resume disconnect games as well. Imagine, man, never again we have to wonder, did that guy really is gonna win that game? No, you can just continue it if we have a disconnect.
Yeah,
awesome future.
Not only that, like the productivity of your training now, all of a sudden, you can go from doing 5 games in an hour to 20 games in an hour just because you want to practice the Immortal All-In or you want to practice defending the Immortal All-In. This is just a great training thing. Training tool for all pro gamers.
I mean, we've actually done a little bit of that too, like doing some of the replays, resume from replay, and see. Actually, Ben was getting teased by Kev yesterday for his EVP, which I beat Ben in, and he was like, "No, you can do this differently." But actually, I really like the global play as well.
Yeah.
We don't need like 5, 6 accounts to be able to go on each server to cast or even to play and practice. I think global play is huge. I'm so excited, and you know, I can't wait for the changes. Ben, are you excited? Ben?
Okay. All jokes aside, it's a phenomenal patch. We can now observe with friends. We can pick up replays at critical points so that we can replay the same scenarios over and over. We can resume dropped games so that a tournament never has to worry about a critical moment being, you know, messing up the outcome of their tournament.
Killing the story.
And along with those big announcements, we also have more detailed stat tracking. We have skins and account leveling, which could be foreshadowing for some perhaps microtransactions in the future. And one of the biggest things, the global play having been opened up means that you do not have to own 10 copies of StarCraft to play on all the different servers. So a phenomenal bit of work going into that most recent patch, along with the additions we got to the UI and to just the game itself. There have been some balance changes made to the beta recently. The first thing that we're going to talk about, and the one that I am most excited about, Burrow has been moved to Hatchery Tech. Tier 1 Burrow has some incredible implications. I think it's going to be phenomenal in Zerg versus Terran. I also think it's pretty good in Zerg versus Protoss, and I think there might be a place for it in ZVZ as well. Really eager to hear what you guys have to say about Burrow Tech being usable at Tier 1.
Well, I think it's more of a defensive thing than anything. I know you said a lot of aggressive options, but I feel like in ZVZ, we won't really see Burrow being too offensive. TVZ, I think that's where it's going to be really powerful in that, you know, you've mentioned the burrowed roaches and attacking there and forcing a lot of scans, but I think just burrowed banelings and stopping those potential combat shield timings that exist. You know, 2 banelings can just ruin a whole army. Even 1 baneling can ruin a whole army. And I think that's going to be so valuable. And last but not least, ZVP, I think it standardizes a lot of the openings because all of a sudden you cannot do these gateway all-ins because as soon as you burst through your first set of force fields, you don't have another set, and I just burrow all my units, wait until my reinforcements come, and then thrash your army after that.
I completely agree about the ZVP part, Andre. I definitely think that's very important. If Zerg scouts right now that Protoss is going for a 6, 7, 8 or a 7 out of 8 gate push, they can actually just cancel layer attack. They can research Burrow immediately. The moment Burrow is ready, it's going to be close to impossible to kill an extremely high level Zerg with the Burrow micro they have if you have no detection. But I do think that you underestimated the offensive strength of Burrow in ZVT. I've watched a lot of Ben's play, and even though Ben is not nasty, he's getting there. But he does play against some reasonable opponents, and it really looks like an extremely annoying thing to deal with. And above all, I think it's going to give Zerg a lot more options, but I definitely think there is room to mess around with it in an offensive matter as well. I mean,
just speaking to ZVT, one of the things that is most annoying, if you take 3 roaches and you burrow them where a command center is supposed to go, it is hard to kill those 3 roaches. You're not going to do it with a couple of Marines.
It's going to force a scan.
They're going to heal right through it. Yeah. I mean, it's actually possible that burrow regeneration
is not just Battle Hellions, bro.
Now, yeah, one Battle Hellion will get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, we've played a couple of test games. It's been on and off, I think, with our games where we see the effectiveness of both Battle Hellions and burrowed roaches in those situations. But I don't know. I think it's still up in the air, and you're rightfully
Battle Hellions
not
are
dismissing
ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous. 5 Battle Hellions killed 9 roaches, guys.
Pretty sure that's awesome balance, dude.
Yeah, it sounds real balanced. It sounds real balanced.
You guys saw Dragon against Hazuops?
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
That's so painful.
The Hellbad drop one?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was
I mean, yes, Hazuops was on 4 gas, and it was a 1-base Terran, but still, it was close to ridiculous.
I guess they are Hellbats now. They're not Battle
I thought the funniest thing about that was, like, killing all that probes, okay, that's one thing. But normally, when you have 2 Hellions there, you think, like, okay, well, at least I'm going to get some shots off. Run away, Stalker. I felt for Hazu. That was painful to watch.
With the boost, with the HP, it's just
and the heal,
so
they can
heal.
Good. Like, Hellion drop has always been good, but now you can heal your Hellions. Like, come on, guys. And it works so well together with the speed medevac as well, because yes, the Battle Hellions are slow, but in the hands of a high-level Terran, they speed up that medevac, then they put them in the right place
it's
again.
now faster than your probes. You can't run away.
It's sick. Yeah. It's really
I think for
sick.
TVZ, there's actually a lot of implications with Battle Hellions and medevacs. I think that's going to be one of the strongest things off of 1 base and 2 base.
I think that's going to be one of the next things nerfed, honestly.
It has to be nerfed. I was actually talking with a lot of Zergs. I think it has to be nerfed.
Otherwise, I do think we're going to see another Terran supremacy for a good first year of soccer.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
A couple of other changes on the balance side. The Void Ray got a small nerf. Also had a graphical element added to that overcharge ability so that you will be able to see when the Void Rays are charging up. There you guys can sort of see it, the little charge bar on the Void Rays. Any thoughts on what that changes, if that changes anything, guys?
It makes it a little bit easier for opponents to micro against the Void Rays, and also gives them a better feeling of perhaps when to temporarily back off and okay, now the charge is going to be on cooldown, now we can engage again. But I really don't think it's all that major. I don't think that you would, like high-level players, they won't start charge unless they actually know they're going to force the fight. You're not going to charge and give your opponent the chance to run away, so I don't think that's a big deal. The 1 supply nerf, I don't think it's massive either. I do think it's justified, because even though I haven't experienced it all that much myself, as surprise, guys, actually I did not use the Void Rays all that much yet. But I have heard a couple of very high-level Zergs complain about the Void Race late game, and I take their word for it that it's a little bit too strong. Even though you can't trust Zergs these days.
You know, I actually think it's the smallest of smallest nerfs that you can do to a Void Ray. It's not going to affect the early game phase that much. I mean, one supply, that if you want to subsidize that into the pylon cost, that's 12.5 minerals. It's really not that much. So we're talking mid-game, end-game. At mid-game, you're not really max, so it's not affecting your supply cap. At end-game, why do you want to max out in Void Rays when you have better things to max out on, like Tempests and Carriers? I think those are a much better option, especially with the recent buff to Carriers, where you can move around, your interceptors will still attack.
The last balance change made on the Heart of the Swarm beta servers is the change to the Reaper. Blizzard gave him a little bit more hit points. Now, we've been actually debating this a lot internally here the past couple of days. I am still of the opinion that the Reaper is a little bit pitiful, or it just doesn't really do any damage. But you guys have been experiencing some interesting situations with Reaper. You want to talk to that a little bit?
And like TVP, there's like this weird critical mass of Reapers early on that even if you have like a Stalker or even two, if you micro really well with the Reapers and pull back the region, it's actually quite absurd early on with that much damage trade. And the fact that you can go 2 racks and still expand off of 1 gas at a pretty standard time without sacrificing econ while putting on pressure is still pretty good. And I mean, Kevin and I talked about it a lot. What do you think, Kev?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Dan. First, I totally agree with you, Ben. I really thought the new Reaper was kind of a joke. Like, I saw one Reaper run in, I was like, oh man, I have to pull 4 probes. And then I was like, hey, that first probe is still half HP. I have nothing to worry about. But that's like the 1 Rex Reaper. I'm really not afraid of that. I don't think that's going to be very good. But I played against that guy that we just saw, and he went 2 Rex Reaper and then into expand. And I just thought, like, okay, I sent in my first Zealot. He out-microed a little bit. I was like, ah, that's cute. I have a Stalker soon. But then with 3 Reapers shooting at my Stalker, and the Reapers are quicker, so it's very easy to out-micro the Protoss player when your units are so much quicker and they can regen. Then my Stalker died because they are quicker in chasing as well. And then 5 Reapers showed up. I was like, oh god. And I ended up losing 18 probes. Now, I definitely didn't handle it very well. Like, I definitely didn't handle it very well. And later on, I resumed the game actually, and then I handled it all better, and I didn't lose. I barely lost anything. But still, that was the first time I actually saw, like, wow, in this scenario, Reapers can actually be good, and maybe I underestimated a little bit. So I still think they are pretty weak. Certainly 1 Rex Reapers, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see some Terran players figure out a way to be pretty damn effective with them.
Well, as you were saying, Ben, being less threatening, especially TVT at the beginning when I'd made 4 Reapers and attacking at the front of his base, he had 4 Marines. Like, I got this, Reapers no problem. And I watched my Reapers die 1 by 1.
Yeah. Why are you watching them die when you can micro them?
Well, because I was experimenting and see what kind of damage output they
That doesn't make sense to me, Clutch.
But even that, they feel less threatening in TVT. Like, oh no, I need to make Marauders now. But at the same time, if you have enough Marines at the top of the cliff, they can handle them.
I mean, there was a time in TVT where you could make 3, well, still in Wings of Liberty, you can make 3 Reapers and they just one-shot Marines.
Yeah.
But with that nerf to their light damage dealing abilities, I guess.
Well, it's a whole redesign, so it's a completely new unit, right? The role has changed completely.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. I think it has to do with maps. In Wings of Liberty, I remember balancing Ohana, and I was saying, no, you have to make a little bit of separation between the main base and the ground, because what ends up happening is there's this one all-in that can't really be scouted in TVT. It's a Reaper Hellion build, and they destroy maybe like a 40% of all FE builds, like 1 racks, fast expansion, you go into whatever. And that was a huge problem because I felt like it was just too gimmicky. So by putting that separation there, the Reaper Hellion build wasn't all too effective. That's why we also have, all of these maps where there's tons of separation. I can't even think of the maps, but Daybreak, Cloud Kingdom, not as much.
Maps where you can't just jump from low ground outside in the middle of the map up into the main base.
Correct.
Is what you're talking about.
So you always have to keep in mind, and that's why Metalopolis, maps like that phased out. Kulos Ravine phased out, not specifically because of the Reaper, but it contributed.
One of those things that was definitely a factor.
So I think as maps move back toward the Metalopolis type style, where it's a mid-game map, or it's a mid-sized map rather. I think that's when we'll really be able to see its power, because right now on maps like Akalon Waste, you're not really going to see them do too much damage if they hard counter it.
I'm definitely excited to see more from some of the pro players as they experiment with these Reapers. The speed is interesting, and some of the new builds that are popping up. Maybe the Reaper expand will become the greatest build of all time.
You were so ahead of the meta game, Ben.